Oh.
I can see myself.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to do that in the camera.
Okay, you ready? I'm done. And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rock Bottom. So I know I said 10 a.m. and I lied, and I know trust issues. I'm sorry, guys.
Trust issues.
I think they overbooked the room, so like there's another person after us like waiting to come in. So I was like, okay, we'll get started a little bit early. It's fine. This will all be just a reminder. Two things. If it ever glitches on Instagram, this entire episode will always be uploaded to YouTube later this afternoon because we have a second camera always recording. So if you miss anything or you can't watch the whole episode on Instagram Live, don't panic. It's all on YouTube later. You can go and watch it, subscribe to our channel, and see all the fun. Plus, I sometimes include a little like extra like before and after clips on there. So don't panic if you can't get in on that. But welcome to Rock Bottom, guys. So good to have Queen V back.
I feel like I haven't been in here forever.
I know, yeah. It's
and
so
it wasn't
weird.
even that long ago.
No, it's so weird how like each week kind of like passes like crazy. And each week feels like a whole other year. Especially, okay, so before we start, we have like some really fun stuff to talk about today. First things first though, I wanted to just do like a quick mental health check-in because we're coming up on May. So we're heading into the fifth month of 2025, which is kind of crazy because I don't know about you guys, but it is flying by.
I'm already thinking about Halloween.
Like, this entire year feels like the 11 minutes that Katy Perry spent in space. And if you are a Katy Perry fan, I'm sorry, but I got jokes today. So, because we have to unpack that. So, anyways.
I don't really know a lot about that.
There's not much to know. It was 11 minutes. But yeah, so this year's flying by. So how are you feeling? Like, how has your year been going? How are your goals? How are you feeling?
I feel like good. I had a bunch of family in town last week, and that threw me off.
Say less.
That threw me off.
You love your family, but you also don't get to choose your family, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like, it's a
I
lot.
have a very massive
family
Italian family, and every single one of us is like this, and so
in Italian.
There was a lot of just like stuff going down, but I think like taking a whole week off of work was like so crazy. So like this week, I've been already back to like meal prepping, taking my walks and stuff, and I already feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like I feel more calm. I feel like last week my nervous system was so out of whack and like 24/7.
There was just a lot
like,
going on.
I was like heightened at all times. Like
yeah.
I was like I just felt like there was always someone coming for me or something. You know what I mean? But now I feel like I almost feel so calm that I'm like a little extra tired. I think because like that. I'm like resetting.
Send that to me. I can.
So I'm a little I'm
not calm.
I don't think you're ever calm though.
True.
I was gonna say I don't think I've ever seen that.
I am like just trying to figure things out lately because I'm not gonna lie, I cannot get my anxiety back on track. Ever since I've had that little kind of meltdown, I have not been back solid like with my mental clarity. I've just felt every day ramped up. It's like I'm taking an energy drink of anxiety and I can't seem to and I don't know, part of that could be just like the uncertainty of everything happening in the economy and just like as a small business owner right now and all my other small business owner friends, like we all vent to each other and like so many of them are not doing well and panicking, and it like creates like this like constant tense energy, and I just feel like I just want to vomit every 2 minutes. Like I just feel like I'm like, but like that's how bad my anxiety is. Like I'm
tell
just
Zach
like
to keep a barf bucket right next to your
literally,
office chair.
I can't. And thank God for Zach because he honestly has been a rock through all of this because I've been unstable AF. But it's crazy. I'm like one step away from being bankrupted. I'm trying my best, you guys.
Can't.
Month 5. Not doing a solid. I'm working on it. I'm trying to do all the things that I can, and stuff like this honestly helps me like kind of process through it. But like,
what's your outlet?
I literally lay in bed at night and I just like stare up at the ceiling and I'm just like, I can't. I don't know what to do. I'm done. I'm clocking out. I'm checked out. I'm fucking over it.
Oh my God.
It's just a lot of stress right now. And if you're a small business owner or if you work at a small business or just in a very like unstable industry right now, it is just a hard time. And it's just really every moment is like weighing on my chest. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. Like that you're doing okay. somebody wasn't at rock bottom.
Somebody wasn't mentally unstable.
I told you guys it's at least once a month. I have a full on. I don't even think it's called midlife crisis at this point.
I think it's just a little breakdown.
It's just a crisis.
It's just
a life crisis.
have a
Like,
mentee
I'm
beat
alive
once
and
a
I'm
month.
having a crisis about that. Like, living. It's not easy. It's not for the weak. Anyways,
I saw
guys.
this thing that was so messed up, actually. It was like this girl who passed away, and she was really young, and this girl literally put in there, and she was like, it was like a more like religious mantra, but it was like, God takes the ones who are young because they don't get to see the horrible world of the future, and like all of this stuff, and I was like, holy crap. Yeah, but I'm like, I kind of get it. Like, a lot of old people are really mean. Like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
I'm crying. Yeah, I mean,
not saying that I want to die. I don't want to die. I want to grow old, but oh my God.
I'm sorry. Like, at that point, like, I love my grandma, but she,
a little bitter.
Yeah, a little bitter.
But you go through a lot.
Life is rough. Yeah, you do go through a lot.
But you know what? That's why we're here to look at the bright side.
You are. We're the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
and
we are.
You are definitely, I don't know which one's good, yin or yang, but I am definitely the dark portion, and you are the light portion. And then we complement each other, or we try. So, anyway, so we're coming up on May, which is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm super excited because I am planning to have a dermatology friend come on next month so we can talk a little bit about, things to look for if you're doing your own skin checks at home. I actually, crazy enough, I just had a client the other day. This is so crazy. She was talking about how her husband found this bump on his head, and it looked like a little pimple, to be honest. And then weirdly the next day it got bigger, so it freaked him out. So he went to the dermatologist. Come to find out, it's nodular melanoma.
Oh wow!
And they're and their whole life is being flipped upside down because now he needs to find out if they can do surgery, and they've told him they're gonna have to excise a lot.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. It just goes to show you guys that skin checks are no joke. If you have not seen a dermatologist, please go see one, especially if you live here in Florida. Especially.
Mm-hmm.
Katy Perry is putting holes in the ozone. With her 11 minutes in space.
The ozone is crazy.
And you know what?
Crazy.
You mentioned this too. You put your sunscreen on, but you're still getting burned.
It is breaking down.
Yeah,
it is 100%.
This isn't even political.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the politics side.
It's it's literally science.
But
I'm
just genuinely concerned that the ozone is falling apart and disintegrating up there. And people like Katy Perry going to space for 11 minutes, not necessary. She's the reason my sunscreen's not working.
I had no idea she went there.
She just went.
Because I saw kind of a little bit.
She just went. It was this whole spectacle.
I thought that was a joke. It was some kind of photo shoot. I didn't realize she actually went.
It's a joke that she went. She did not go to space. She went to the edge of the atmosphere, but she came back acting like she was a damn astronaut. It's every TikTok influencer out there that promotes one skincare product and they're suddenly an esthetician. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, guys. You have to have training and years of experience before you're called an astronaut. Not to mention Katy Perry. There were 2 real astronauts.
I love how you just called her out.
I'm calling her out.
She's Katy Perry, if you're listening.
Real astronauts that were actually stuck in space for 8 months, and she went for 11 minutes, and she came back and she kissed the ground when she made it back to Earth. And everyone was like, you were on a glorified flight. You were just on a flight. You were on an Airbus.
You're on a really fast.
A really nice. It was a roller coaster, if you ask me. 11 minutes. They were whoop, whoop. That's insane. That's crazy. I'm sorry, guys. But in all honesty, I don't know much about how pollution works and stuff like that. But it is interesting to me that sunscreen. This is just my personal opinion. Not trying to call out any specific facts or anything here. But sunscreen seemingly is not as effective
as it used to be.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like you mentioned, you reapply, and we're still getting burnt. And it's not like I'm out in the sun for an abnormal amount of time compared to how I normally am. Mm-hmm. But I do feel more sensitized to the sun lately, and it's so interesting. And it makes me wonder, if the ozone is in fact kind of starting to break down just over time, which I think that's normal for any planet. I think things that we use to help protect us from the sun may eventually become completely ineffective, you know?
That's a good point. I think
And
that's
it's so
definitely
interesting
a
to
possibility.
think. I mean, that does not mean don't wear your sunscreen, please, by all means. But it's just very interesting, and like more and more people are having skin cancer early in their life, like young people. You know, my client's husband, he's in his 30s. Like, that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's so early onset. So it's scary. And so please, if you have not had a dermatology check, please go get one. It's great. I made Zach go one time. He was not happy about it because he had to stand naked in a room full of people. And they literally were like checking every crevice of his body. And he was like, Olivia? And I was like, and they found something suspicious on the back of his leg that they have to monitor. So please, you never know. And it's places that you don't expect. Like for men, ocular melanoma. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but you can get melanoma on the eyeball.
Or on the bottom of your foot. That's how Bob Marley died.
Under your fingernails. That is common. For men, super common in the ears, because a lot of times, like with shorter hair, like for women who have long hair, typically our hair acts as a coverage for our ears. But for men, melanoma is super common in the ear. I have a client who's
scalp too.
Yeah, an ear doctor, and she says when she looks into people's ears, like she can see the melanomas, and then of course the scalp. So do your best to protect yourself to the best of your abilities, whether it's wearing extra coverage or having that sunscreen barrier. Whatever you can do to try to protect yourself would be ideal. So I plan to have a dermatologist come on and talk a little bit more. He is a skin cancer specialist, so he can come on and kind of give us some ideas. And you know what? I might have him check a couple moles while I'm here.
You're like, do I get a free exam with this?
Look at it.
podcast
Okay,
that
but
I have
here's
here?
my fear is like a lot of them are hidden in my tattoos, so like I get panicked about that a little bit when I go to the dermatologist because I'm like,
You should show Zach how to detect something because it's really just the ABCs.
yeah, no, it is the ABCs for sure. Which we'll get into that next time. We're not getting into that today. Don't worry. It's not May yet. It's not May. It's not Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Just kidding. Always
Also,
Skin Cancer Awareness.
ask if you're coming in for a facial and you think you have something suspicious. You can ask us. Too.
Yes.
We're not a doctor and we can't.
We
diagnose
cannot diagnose it,
but we can let you know if we think
And I
something might
have.
be suspicious.
Yeah.
I have too. I had a client who just got something removed from her head because it was What's the one that starts? No, the next one. Starts with an
squamous.
S. Yeah, squamous cell. Yeah.
Yeah, so agreed. Your esthetician should have pretty proficient knowledge on identifying suspicious lesions, and if they don't, they should certainly go out and learn, because there are classes you can take online. Again, we're not doctors. We cannot diagnose. We cannot treat cancer of any kind. But you should be vigilant and understanding when something looks out of the ordinary. I send people to derm all the time.
Yeah.
I have 2 trusted derms here in St. Pete that I send my clients to all the time. And my clients are always like, thank you, because it was something and I would have never have gone myself if somebody hadn't pointed it out. So go beyond the treatment room as an esthetician, do your extra education, make sure you can help your clients identify some of those suspicious lesions. And hey, as a reminder, there is like a weird rift between estheticians and dermatologists it's like before the age of time. Like derms and estheticians have always kind of had this like
We have like
weird,
a feud.
Yeah, it's like a feud. I don't know how to describe it. I think estheticians are upset that derms are a little more empathetic, and derms are a little upset that estheticians sometimes overstep their boundaries. But at the end of the day, we're all just here to help our client. So let's just get that straight. I don't hate any derm. I have no problems with derms. I just want to help my client. So if that means I see something on my client that I know that I can't treat, or it's out of my scope of practice, do the right thing and refer your client to the right person. Because at the end of the day, it's about saving their life or saving, a chunk of their skin cosmetically, rather than your ego. And there are things that derms can do that we can't. And just like there's things that we can do that derms can't. I would love to see a derm give a facial. I would love to. That would be great. But hey, that's why it's scope of practice. There's lines, there's boundaries, all of those things. So speaking of that, I had recently asked you guys to talk to me about tea. I wanted to know some of the crazy things that happened where you guys worked previously, and I have some great tea that you guys sent me. So first things first, I wanted to talk about one of our other employees, Christina. She used to work at a dental office.
Oh yeah.
And she would tell us, like, there is nothing against getting a facial in odd places. I like to call it. But I'm going to
be real honest
Oh
with
my
you
God.
guys. If I'm going to the dentist, the last thing I'm thinking about is getting my facial there.
Yeah, no.
And she would tell us like how uncomfortable sometimes clients would be because they're like, I guess I'm getting a facial, but like in the room next door, someone's getting a root canal and you can like hear it through the walls. And like,
it's like in Nemo and they're like,
like, oh no. So I was so curious because I had asked a couple people like, where are some of the interesting places that people have worked? One of the biggest one was dentist office though. Like dentist,
because it's like dental aesthetics is becoming like huge now.
Which I don't
it's
think
like
I understand.
Whole, yeah,
which
they
I
can
understand
do everything.
teeth stuff, but I don't understand like
they do like Botox now.
I know.
Did you hear about? Oh, you know what? I don't know if you did because I think it was a client that actually told me. There is a dentist that was doing plastic surgery, boob jobs. Yeah.
You go get teeth cleaning and a boob
And
job.
a boob
It's
job.
Crazy. I know your insurance is having a fit about that.
No, well that's what I'm thinking.
What's
I'm like,
your
how?
copay?
I don't get it.
That's
I don't
crazy.
understand that.
There are some crazy places. Like I had a client who, her friend, someone she knew, worked as an esthetician that was connected to a tire shop.
No.
Yes.
No.
So people drop their car off
And then
and get a facial. I'm like,
wait, why is that looking kind of perfect though?
crazy.
I would love that because
No,
or like
would
an
love
oil
it.
change or something.
Okay.
Like, oh,
no,
let me
this
go
is
get my oil change and
actually
get a
this
facial.
is low key a business idea I've had for years. I'll never execute it, so somebody else can steal it and take it. I've always wanted to open an oil change tire shop that was all women's. That was also a nail salon. Like, let me get my nails done while my car is getting worked on. Because honestly, I don't have time for both. So if we could just combo that together, somebody take that business idea and run with it. Because I don't have enough
Somebody
energy.
call Quan.
Somebody call, yeah, Quan. Where you at, girl? Open it. I'm dead. But no, some people were, I mean, that's like literally going to the library and there's also an esthetician there. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that
you
is
can't
really
just put an
weird.
esthetician anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
But they be everywhere. If you guys know of any other,
be everywhere.
if you guys know of any other crazy places that you've seen estheticians, like, please share that below because I would love to know other places. The tire shop one is definitely by far the craziest one.
Yeah, that's
But
for
the
sure
dental
crazy.
office, that's been a big one. That's a lot of dental places have estheticians now. So to me, I don't know about that. And then I had another client who told me, this is kind of like very interesting because this is where things in the industry can get so shady and so gray area. But I had a client who mentioned that where she worked, she was required to sell a certain amount of packages for this specific like fat reducing treatment that they had. I don't even know what it was. But the rep, I guess, basically was kind of like, yeah, like they're definitely not going to see like a lot of results. And she was like, okay. And they still bought this machine for their office. And then all of the estheticians were required to sell a certain amount of packages.
Yeah, so you're not even
knowing that it's not even helping the client. Like that.
This is exactly why I was scared to get into the line of work,
100%,
though. Because I was like, I don't want to sell things just because I have to meet like a quota. Like,
1,000% agree.
Yeah.
1,000% agree. And like a lot of people will ask me sometimes, they're like, oh, Olivia, why? Because I don't know if you know this, if this is your first time kind of like hanging out with me. I graduated school and then opened my practice the day I graduated school. I went and got my keys to my first suite the day I graduated. I've never stepped foot in another place of practice. I graduated and opened my own thing. Number one reason to that was I had heard the horror stories about having to work at a place where I may not have a voice or an opinion on what sort of products I'm selling to my clients or treatments that I'm providing, and B, I might have to meet this like ridiculous quota, which apparently is like very common places. I genuinely don't actually understand the whole quota nonsense,
Well,
but that
so
is
stuff out there now. It's
yeah.
so scammy. It's like everybody's just trying to sell something at this point. You know, I feel like it's hard.
Crazy. So it's been very interesting because I know so many people in this industry who work a place and they've told me, they're like, Olivia, I have to sell this much by the end of the month or my job is on the line. So at that point, the integrity of what you're recommending to your client is no longer valid. At that point, and especially if you're kind of like scared you might lose your job, you're going to push. And that's where you get the slimy sales that starts to come in. And it's so crazy because I've had so many people tell me that, and that is so wrong. That just seems so wrong. It's unethical. in my opinion, to have some sort of quota that you have to meet. Whereas at like my practice, I've always been very open with my estheticians, like your pay and your hours are just based on your work. And it's not like you have to meet a certain thing. It's just you work harder, you'll get more. You market yourself, you get more clients. Like there is no like you have to have a quota by the end of the month or you're out of here.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And it becomes really unethical. And I was so shocked at how like very across the board that was to have to meet a quota where you work. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because unless your job is solely like a sales position, like the actual reps themselves, like of course they're selling the devices and the machines, and I love reps, but I have a love-hate relationship with them because they can be slimy too sometimes. And they're meeting a quota solely because their entire like income depends on it. But when you're working at a spa where people are coming to you and you're like selling based on a quota and not because of what your client needs, that's crazy. That's crazy and wrong. And I cannot even begin to tell you guys the horror stories that clients have told me about places they've been to where they have felt that way. Like they were like, I couldn't even get out the door without the products being like shoved in my face, and I financially wasn't ready to make that decision, and then they felt judged for not buying the products. Crazy. But the big one is the quota. And you worked somewhere first, right?
No.
Oh, you did spray tanning for a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spray tan for like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months or something like that.
Now, do you think ever in your mind you were ever like, I want to own my own business? Or were you always kind of like wanting to work towards like more managerial and like overseeing practices?
I didn't know that I was going to become, like, I didn't know that I was going to step into a managerial role. I didn't expect that to happen, but I think, like, once I got into that spot, I was like, ooh, I actually really like this. Like, I like, overseeing things and, like, having a bigger role than, like, just seeing clients.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like with all the duties that, like, you've given me and everything, I feel like I definitely have the potential to do that one day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that I want, though.
Yeah, I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
I think you're capable of it, but, like, if you would want that.
Yeah.
Because it ain't easy.
I think the only way I would do it is if I had like a partner.
Like, let's just get
You know
this
what I
all
mean?
very clear. This podcast didn't come about because I'm a healthy person. This podcast is here because I decided to open a business.
Oh my
Probably
God.
needed a hug, but I opened a business. And
Probably
I'm
needed a hug, but I started a podcast
mentally
instead.
unwell. Yeah, probably needed a hug, but I started a podcast. Oh my gosh.
You don't even like hugs.
It's fine. I'm okay. Don't open a business. It's not for the easy. But no, so before we leave today, I have one more crazy tea that someone texted me privately about. They literally said that the place that they work at, they have their back bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said that they run out of product, like in their back bar. Like they use like big name brands. I'm not even going to bring brands into it because I don't want to get sued or anything. But they use big name brands in their back bar, but they ran out of the actual product inside the jars a month ago, and their owner refuses to restock, so they went and purchased Walgreens drugstore products and replaced them inside the jars. A moment of silence.
I was going to say, I don't think I have anything to say to that at all.
That is like the hottest tea.
Crazy.
And
how are the clients not knowing, though? How can you not feel
how would a
that?
client know?
I don't know, because you think you feel it? You think you feel the differences?
I don't blame the clients for not knowing.
No, I don't blame them either, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I feel like I would feel it.
Yeah, well, we're
I would be
trained
able
to feel
tell.
it. I think we would feel it. But that,
that's
to
true.
me, was the wildest tea in the world. And
Yeah,
I
that
know
is-
exactly what
that
she's
is
talking about, which
insane.
is crazy. And I think what's the craziest tea about this is at the end of the day, you're hurting yourself as a business because your clients aren't going to see the same results. And you've now based your business on a lie. And I'm sorry, but karma's a bitch. And she be coming around. And like, that's crazy.
Dang.
Yeah, can you believe that?
That is wild.
Yes, and she was like, we would run out of like serums and cleansers and stuff like that, and we'd get to like the bottom of the bottle, and we'd go to the owner and be like, oh, we need to restock. And the owner would like take the bottles and be like, okay, I'll take care of it. And she said she didn't notice for a while until she realized like, all of a sudden she was like pumping something and she was like, this is not the color it's supposed to be. And she like opened it and she was like smelling it and she was like, this is weird. She was like, did they change the formula? And she reached out to a rep to ask before she went to the owner because she didn't think that the owner like was doing this.
That, yeah.
So she reached out to the rep and the rep was like, no, that's not how that's supposed to look. And the rep was essentially the one that found out what they were doing. Yeah. Is that not crazy? That might be the hottest tea I've ever heard, and that's sad and scary.
Yeah,
and I don't even know, like, as a client, like, you can't even, like, it's not like you can go somewhere and be like, show me the back bar.
Yeah.
I need to compare. Like,
show me that bar.
No, but that's, like, insane, and that just goes to show you, like, please do your research where you go, guys.
No,
like,
honestly.
make sure you check up on, you know, where you're going, reviews on that place, things you've heard, and really, really research where you go before you go somewhere because it is the Wild West out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no department or agency that comes around to our facilities to check
stuff like
things,
that.
and that's awful. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. I mean, I've heard other horror stories. Thankfully, not anywhere near us, but I've just heard horror stories about sharing dermaplane blades, like making one blade last all day.
Did you see that one person got AIDS?
Yeah. AIDS from reusing needles, which is very common, and not just in our industry, but in the tattoo industry as well. And thankfully, at our facility, with Zach being a tattoo artist on site, we are required to have a health inspector that comes out to check our facility. But get this, if you don't have a tattoo establishment license, no one comes to check your practice.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Not even if you're an injector. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's also the state of Florida. It'd be the Wild
But then
West.
it's so funny because they have that, but then also the state of Florida is the only state in the U.S. where you have to be a nurse practitioner to do injections.
Yes. It doesn't make sense the way they've got it.
Yeah. It
like
makes
either
no
be
sense at
really
all.
tight with the restrictions and qualifications or don't.
Or don't.
Yeah. But don't make it like half-assed.
Yeah.
Because there's loopholes. Like it's crazy. The loopholes in this state are honestly crazy. And I'm personally an advocate for stricter restriction and stricter certification. I believe that our industry struggles because of the fact that there's so many loopholes and gray areas, and clients get hurt because of this. And then clients have bad experiences because of this.
And then they never want to go back, and then there's like issues.
Right.
And it can,
like the one client I had the other day, she was a new client. She came in to get a dermaplane, and I was like, oh, do you want to do the dermaplane? She was like, yeah. I cleared my schedule this weekend because I remember last time I had the cuts all over my face. And I literally was like...
This happened? When did that happen?
A couple weeks ago when I had a new client. And I literally, I set something down real quick and I like rolled my chair around so that I was like eye level with her. And I was like, I just want you to know that that's not normal.
God.
You should not leave the treatment room
with cuts on your face.
And you as an esthetician should not be treating people if you are not prepared for that. You need to seek more training. But this is exactly my point. How is a client supposed to know?
Yeah.
She dead ass thought that was part of it.
I've heard stuff like this with microderm too.
Yes.
You know exactly
what
I'm talking about right now.
People get all scraped
and if
up.
you're watching this, no, she literally had like it literally looked like a child took their little
like
itty bitty fingers and went like this, like all across her face.
Scrapes,
and it was like
cuts,
literally
scars.
like scabs all over her face. And I literally told her, I was like, you are so lucky that you don't have any scarring from this at all. Honestly, it's beyond me how she does it. Yeah. I'm actually shocked about that.
And she literally said she was afraid to say something because she didn't want to hurt the girl's feelings. Okay, well, the girl should also go.
Okay, but maybe it's not you that's the problem.
No.
Maybe it's the girl.
That's crazy. But again, my point is, like, how are clients supposed to know? They're not supposed to know.
No, they're not.
So, like, that's where, like, that trust is so important between provider and client. And do your research, guys. That's all I gotta say. Like, there are some amazing places here in St. Pete that you can get a facial. If you need certain care, reach out to me. I got 100 places I can send you. I've got some friends that own some phenomenal places here in St. Pete, but then I got a list of places that I don't refer people because I've heard some crazy shit that's coming out of there, and there's some big name places. But hey, I'm not here to bash anybody. My point is, at the end of the day, you're hurting your clients and your business, and that's on you. That's all I gotta say. Ain't no skin off my back. But that tea was crazy. And on that note, we can end today's session with crazy amount of tea. If you're Katy Perry and you're watching this, please quit going to space. My
I guess
screen's not working.
I need to look into this.
I don't know how you didn't know about
I don't
this.
know how I did either.
Okay, guys, I will see you guys soon. I know I'm planning to have a dermatologist come on. I'm also planning to have my friend Jen, who is our spray tan and teeth whitening artist at the Body Lab. And we're also going to have my chiropractor wants to come on here pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited for that.
I'm so dead.
I feel like we should do like a meditation session, like when I'm in here with him. Like we're just, maybe I'll have him crack my neck on
No,
live.
you should.
That
would be
so
such
fun.
ASMR.
Also,
Oh my
please
God.
remember, I do have a little bit of a list of people that have applied to be guests on the show. But if there's anybody you guys want to see on the show, tag them, send them to me. Let me know if they have a fun topic we want to talk about. You know, or if they just want to come on and have a mental breakdown with me, we could do that too. I'm cool with that. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. And here's V.
Bye. Are you ready? Wait.
No, don't do the ASMR.